5 traps that are keeping you stuck in hustle mode, preventing you from making more money and climbing your mountain. No matter your business industry, your business model, your age, this video is about you, for yourself, and in your business. And if one of these 5 traps got you, God forbid all 5 of them, you're constantly in these go, 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 go. And let's be clear, hustle mode never ends. Go, come on, let's go, push, 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 push. But there is a difference between linear thinking, A to B, go, 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 go. And then that moment when you stop and say, wait a second, where am I going? What do I want to achieve? I'm not going to live 200 years. And you wake up and say, I have to be a little bit smarter somehow. That's why I want to encourage you, because the theme of this video is to encourage, to educate, and to empower. I want to encourage you to not feel too low if you find out after this video that 1 or maybe 2 or 3 traps got you and are holding you there. To educate you, because I'm going to give you step by step what to do for each of these 5 so that you can feel empowered. Do not exaggerate with the 3rd one, but let's not also be afraid of encouraging and empowering, because let me ask you one thing. When you want to support somebody that you love, you care about, you encourage them, you empower them. But for some reasons, we are sometimes afraid of doing this to ourselves, because I'm gonna be harder and harder. That's good, but why do you support and empower and encourage somebody when you care about somebody, but then you don't do it to yourself? So encourage, educate yourself, and let's empower ourselves so that we can be ready to start to apply after this video all the tools I'm going to share with you so that you can start to climb your mountain. Because we stay too long in this stage here, and that sometimes we just force ourselves, not because we want, but because we got locked and we can't see things from the above, and not only from the 30,000 feet from above, but also to see the layers of our thinking, with everything we should think and do. All right, good. So the shift, which is going to unlock all 5 of them, because it's one shift, but it's going to unlock all 5 of them, is to keep this idea in mind, moving from linear thinking to the layered thinking, or to hierarchical thinking. And you'll see what does that mean a little bit later, what we're going to unpack one by one. Then number 1. The number 1 trap is your mind. You see, mathematics can help you to solve problems, but mathematics is not going to teach you which problem you have to solve. And if we get locked into thinking, we overthink, we think, and we sometimes start to realize that we're not smart enough, and rightly so. Of course, by ourselves, we might not be smart enough. But what if smart is just an abstract concept that doesn't mean anything unless you put the mind in the right context? The neighbors of let's put it so, the first 2 questions you have to answer before you start to think about solving a problem are the following. So if we put the mind right in the middle, then what do I want? What do I want is the first question before the mind. And the second neighbor is, what is the result I want to achieve? Before you, or if you don't answer first these 2 questions, your mind is going to play with you and is going to drive you crazy. In a way, like a cat when it's playing with a mouse, is the same thing. That's what your mind is going to do with you. Unless you answer first these 2 questions. What do I want? So that when you start to think about how to grow your business, or how to make more money, or how to get more leads, you don't go back into just knowledge. You maybe heard from someone, you saw someone, you started thinking now about what's trending, AI, which we have to implement for sure. It has its place. But why? What do you want? and what's the result which is going to satisfy this thinking. Otherwise, you're just thinking, and you go back into the knowledge basket, and you grow. You got so much knowledge which is going to keep you stuck in this hustle mode, because you haven't answered this question: what do I want, and what's the result? So what I suggest to you is to put your mind between these two neighbors. What do I want, and what's the result? And then, my friend, you can start thinking. And you also see that thinking starts to become much easier, because you'll have these layered thinking. What do I want? What's the result? Oh my gosh. If you are trapped into gathering more knowledge, and you feel discouraged, and you feel dumb because you don't know enough, probably sometimes it is true. We're not as smart as others, we're not as smart as we think we should. But what is this being smart? Because it's such an abstract element. How can we measure what being smart is? Unless you define for yourself what's the desire and what's the result, and then start thinking. And if you find yourself very often lured into these thinking process without understanding or answering to yourself, what do I truly want? I want to have more leads. What do you want more leads? Because you want to have more, you want to make more money, but probably you have to make a better offer. Maybe you have to create a package. Maybe you have to market it differently. Maybe you have to create multiple offers. Maybe you have to increase your prices. Maybe it depends. You want to have more leads. Why? Because you think you're going to make more money. You're going to have more free time. But if you want to have more free time, probably you can already make it. Unless maybe you have to hire somebody, where you have to implement a system, or to take off some systems which are complicating the process. There are thousands of solutions. So unless you make clear, and I know it's much harder than thinking, to answer these two questions: what do I want, and what's the result I want to get? Answer these two, then jump into thinking. Then number two, everybody says that ego is a trap. Well, it might be a trap. But considering your ego constantly your enemy and something bad, well, that's another trap. Sometimes we avoid using those forces, that drive which is within us, because it looks a little bit too egotistical or too egocentric. And there are two categories: those who are need a little bit of empathy, that gotta go shopping some empathy, and there are those who just run away from it because, no, we are just into good and we have to do good. That's amazing. But we also have to take initiative sometimes and say, you know what? I'm going to be the first. Because look, every single time when you say I, a huge part of it is your ego. So I'm not trying to push you towards being more egocentric. But what I want you to look at is to realize that ego is part of you. And it can be the enemy. Your emotions can be the enemy. Money can be the enemy. Resting too much can be the enemy. Wanting too much can be the enemy. Lots of things can be the enemy. Talking too much can be the enemy. Not speaking up can be the enemy. So what does it mean ego is the enemy? Depends on the context. Are you doing stuff just to push your ego up, or do you use it so that you can generate some drive? And here we go to the context, to then transform it or direct it into empathy. So if you shut down your ego completely, you want to just become egoless. That's absolutely impossible. For the first thing is, you can't just go under a tree and stay there for 30 years and get rid of your ego. And then you still sure things were just living away with another. That is already ego. When just for the fact of desiring to share something or to teach something to someone, that already requires a huge chunk of ego, and then direct it into the right direction. So of course the ego gotta die, because it provokes lots of pain, lots of damage around. And we say it is the enemy because the most observable one. You can see somebody is driven and it's like ego like, I see you. But many things can be the enemy. So if you try to shut down completely your ego, then your drive a little bit goes down. So there are stages in life when we're very driven and we have to use it to move forward. And then comes the moment when we have to rely on a higher value, which we'll get a little bit later. And then the drive, there are drives behind what was driving us. There are stages. So don't be too hard on yourself. Give yourself some grace when you stand up and say, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to do this thing or another. Remember the story of the lost son? Because of his ego, he went away from his father and spent all his money. But also a little bit of ego helped him to stand up and say, you know what? I'm going to stand up. I'm going to go to my father. I'm going to say X, Y, Z. So it depends how do you direct it, towards greatness, towards good, or towards just bringing more noise to the table. Beware of the ego trap in both extremes, to not suppress it too much, but also not to put it on a pedestal. This is a huge trap. You gotta balance it. How? Focus on ask yourself what's driving you, so that you can allow yourself, to push a little bit forward and direct it towards empathy. Because of this drive, who do I want to serve or what do I want to do? This is the second trap. Beware of it. Then number 3, the abstract vision. The third trap is having a great, huge vision. And we tell to ourselves, the vision is so far, it's so big. Oh, I got to do so much more. I got to do so much more. I'm so far away from where I want to be. And we don't even set goals, objectives to get to that vision. And we bombard ourselves with so much information. Oh my God. But I don't know this, I don't know that. And my vision is so big. Oh my God, I'm so far. I got to grind and grind and grind and grind. And for a period of time, that's great. But if we don't start to answer, what is the knowledge which I'm bombarding myself with? What is the mission on which I am, so that I can achieve or aim at this beautiful, big vision? Because having a great vision, it's inspiring, but you don't have a clear path towards it. It's holding you right there where you are, and you don't grow, you don't move forward because the vision is far. So the trap is bombarding yourself with too much knowledge, which doesn't serve your mission. The mission is the road towards your vision. We can't talk about vision or leadership or other great things unless we have answered for ourselves, what is the mission I'm on? And if you build too much towards the vision, too much on the knowledge, the mission is not clear, and then the vision scares you or discourages you. Because you look backward and say, it's been 5 years, I'm grinding, and I'm so far from my vision. Well, there's much more to say, how to measure your success, how to set some wins in front of you, so that you can understand and measure and look backwards and watch and say, okay, good, I'm getting closer, looking forward, okay, this is what's next. Make sure that every bit of knowledge which you learn and you look around and you put in your knowledge basket serves you better to fulfill your mission. And make sure it is aligned with your vision. Otherwise, you get stuck into the knowledge and the vision becomes your enemy. You might start to despise your vision because you start to feel so small, so not smart enough, not good enough, which at the beginning it is so. That's why, my friend, if you struggle a little bit to understand, hey, what's driving me? How do I set my mission? What are those skills and desires and values which can help me to decide what's the mission I want to fulfill so that I can measure these steps towards my vision? In the show notes, There's a link. You can click and go there, mostforce.com. And there are 3 options. You can go to Allow Yourself to Rise, which is a program which will give you the 12 modules are going to give you all the clarity and all the tools you need so that you can start to understand your nature and how to model it, how to direct it without being scared and then confused and then encouraged and then emotions high, emotions down. And you can go through all that program by yourself. Or if you want 6 sessions between me and you, there's the second option, there's the third option, 12 sessions between me and you. And you can change today and start to see yourself in such a way you never saw yourself before. And everything becomes so much clearer. Everything becomes so much easier because you work hard, but it becomes clearer. Where are my older resources? How to generate more energy and direct it towards your direction so that you can start to make more money and to climb your mountain rather than just watching others succeeding. There, click, go, here we go. Easy. This is the trap number 3. That's the vision. I remember my first, not the second business which failed was Better Physique. And oh boy, I had a great vision, but that was all I had. Just vision. I'm going to change this. I'm going to do that. We're going to accomplish this without any structure of what are the steps, what we're going to do, what we're going to accomplish. We were two buddies together. Man, those 2 years there were hell and paradise at the same time. Hell because it was crazy. You have no idea what's the next step, but you're just pushing forward. At the same time, it's very interesting because you learn a lot. So that's just beautiful. Those phases, we all go through those phases. But sometimes, because of our stubbornness, because of our investment of a little bit of energy, of 5% of your energy can save the other 70% of your energy so that you can start to answer the right questions so that everything becomes clear and you're not trapped into hustle, go, more. All right, good. Now, about this layer, but before we go into the next 2, I want to share you a thought of Zig Ziglar. Great book for sales. If you are interested, I love it and I find it very practical. I'm going to switch here the person to the second singular. So if you want to change your status in life, you got to change your performance. To change your performance, you got to change your thinking. To change your thinking, you have to change the input into your mind so that you can selectively choose the good stuff for your mind food. You have to understand clearly that your mind is not a garbage dump. It is a temple. So inspiring, so educating because it's so practical. The information you put in, the food for your mind, has to serve your mission because your mission is performing. And if you want to increase your status, you got to improve your performance. You have to improve your performance. You have to change the way you treat your mind. That's why be careful how much knowledge, what kind of knowledge do you put in your mind? And is it getting you closer to your vision? Then number 4, it's a very interesting one. Money. Everybody wants some money. Nobody wants to work on their skills. How can being too focused on money prevent you from actually making more money? Because money is such an interesting, it might be goal, it might be a reward, whatever it is a reward, it's a result, it's a reflection of something. There are models, there are ways you can use structured already so that you can climb your mountain. So when you think about climbing a mountain, the tricks are, the experience is unique, but there are formulas of how to do it. You get specific shoes, You gotta have some water, some food. You have to have some things which are going to help you to climb that mountain, ropes and stuff. The experience is different. Now, there are sometimes those who just got a scratch and say, oh my God, and call the helicopter because I'm done. There are others who's like, okay, scratch, let's move forward. So the experience is different. But there's also some things which are clearly defined. So the money game has these two aspects. One is your experience, your values, your mountain. And there's the other side, which is a structured, clear path, how money works. Now we are focusing on the you side, on the your values side. So where the money should be, your money stands in between, oh, is it out? Okay, so I'm going to put it here. The money has to stay between the value which your skills bring to the table and the multiplication factor. What are you going to multiplicate and how? What does that mean? You might be in the service model, maybe you offer a service, you maybe have a product, doesn't matter. If it's connected directly to your skill, then the value which your skill provides can help you to increase the amount of money by increasing your price, by becoming the best at what you do. But depends, what's the skill, what's the context, how many are they who already do this, have these skills maybe better than you, and you'll never be a piano player, so maybe you gotta change a little bit the direction. Because if it's a skill of you, can I multiply the value I bring, or can I multiply the system so that I can help, the value remains the same, but I can multiply the number of people who I can serve. So what do you want to multiply? A system in your business, strategies, where you want to multiply the value of your skill, where maybe your skill is to bring other skillful people so that you can multiply the generation process power, the trust, and to multiply also the people you want to serve. The money is what people thank you for solving their problems. So it's you, the problem you solve, solution, and the people who gives you money back because you do what you do. So you can take it linear, you with your skill, or you can bring more skills or subcategories of skills which are around your skill. So you don't bring other people, but you bring that kind of knowledge around it, which makes you much more valuable. So it's the value and the multiplication factor. I used to be a personal trainer for 8 years, good 8 years. So when I started to move into psychology and neuroscience and understanding the human nature, I started to be a great athletic coach from the psychology side. Knowing also the bodybuilding game. I was a bodybuilder athlete, and I competed, I won, was amazing, was fun. And helping others, but knowing the game from within. Not just somebody who just says great stuff and great strategies, but doesn't know the game from within. So when I started to combine these two, it made a great cocktail together that allowed me to increase the value which I brought to the table. So that allowed me to bring more cash flow in my business because I've created a subcategory of skills around the main skill. So that was my multiplication factor at that time. So according to your business model, according to where you are and what you do, the service or the product, you have to have these two elements. You want to make more money? Don't just think about money. I want more money, because then you become blunt. You become dumb. You're not creative. You're not strategical. You don't have the strategical approach to things. And it's painful. I'm making enough money. I want to make more money. Well, then think. Or increase the value you bring and multiply it, or you multiply the people who you can serve, bringing the value which you can bring. Can you do both? Make it unique and multiply also the number of people you can serve? Here we go. The number 5, the wisdom trap. How to avoid the wisdom trap. You might say, wait a second, why do I need to avoid the wisdom trap? Well, let me share with you a passage from the Bible. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 12. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit who is from God, so that we may know the things freely given to us by God, which things we also speak not in words taught by human wisdom, but in those taught by the Spirit, combining spiritual thoughts with spiritual words. The next verses are amazing, but I want you to focus on this. There is human wisdom and there is godly wisdom. And these are two different things. When you have your human wisdom, you think about how to make $1 billion or euros. When you have godly wisdom, you think about how can I help 1 billion people's lives. It's a different way of thinking. It's a different wisdom. Not in vain, Solomon said, wisdom is also vain. Because human wisdom is just, you can take a very egocentrical, very selfish desire and become very wise at transforming it into something only for your interest and still not be fulfilled, or still being poor, or still being broke or in the hassle mode, or different reasons. Depends of where you are and what's your next stage. Do you think in terms of wisdom, growth, personal growth, business growth? So according to your context, the wisdom has to have its own two neighbors, and that's the experience you've got should be invested so that you can increase your wisdom, both human wisdom and godly wisdom. One is good for one thing, the other, it's not the other. It's a reflection, it's the shadow of the other. And according to your spiritual growth, your human wisdom is increasing as well. And the wisdom should serve the last value, the impact. What is the impact you want to bring into the world, into people's lives? Because if you just look for wisdom, and you know this trap when you're reading books, but you don't do what you learn, and the knowledge becomes your enemy. The knowledge stops you from growing because you enjoy so much knowing, but that can become a great pleasure as well. So when you are into gathering knowledge for your wisdom because you want to change people's lives or your life or your family's life, ask again. While I'm going to think about what I'm going to think, what do I want? And what's the result I'm looking for? So after you decide what's the impact you want to have in the next 3 months, maybe you have to work more on your money aspect. Maybe you have to work more on the efficiency of your business. Maybe you have to work on your energy management, whatever it is. Once you've decided the impact, look back on your experience, extract the wisdom, increase the value of your wisdom. Don't get trapped into it. You can't become wiser than you are. You can't act as wiser than you actually already are. You can act upon your wisdom, which you have got already, and become wiser using the frame of the mind. What do I want? Why do I want that impact? And what kind of impact in 3 months will satisfy me in a way which is also realistic according to my mission and my vision, so that I can know what knowledge should I bring in my system, so that all these 5, which are 5 traps, but I've shared with you 5 or 3, 15 values, which they gotta play between them in harmony, so that you can start moving forward, so that you can not only make more money, but also to climb your mountain, the purpose, the assignment God has for you. My friend, stay encouraged. Encourage yourself. Use this information to encourage yourself to move forward. Don't exaggerate with this guy one here. Educate yourself in a way that serves your mission and vision. And feel empowered and empower others so that he can move forward rather than just tiptoeing around it. Subscribe to this channel. This will be a great favor, and I thank you for your attention. I wish you all the best. And if you need any help, in the show notes are all the links available. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.